Welcome to Part 39, Switching in Everett, Bayside Yard, from the brakeman's point of view. This is Burr, Stewart, your host, and as you know, we spend a lot of time switching cars in Everett because Everett is the center of this large HO scale model railroad in Seattle, Washington. This video is an experiment because I put a couple of little tiny spy cams in the top of a couple of freight cars and then took some footage while we were switching trains in the vicinity of those cars. So bear with us while we watch the switching operation. It may be slow at times, but I really am interested in how cool this looks when we're observing it from the point of view of a person riding on the car. So for example, right now, we're standing on one track, or at least hanging from the car on one track, while the switcher is taking a reefer to the other track. And of course, if you look at the large view on the left there, you can see that we're about to slam into a whole cut of cars on what we call the Port of Everett track. There we go. We slammed into it, and I think he's probably either going to pull those cars or drop the reefer, but I guess we'll see what he does next. Well, it looks like he's pulling the entire cut. This video is designed to be similar to rail fanning in the real world, which means it's a little slow at times, but I'll speed it up when it seems like a good idea so we don't have to drag it out too long. There, now we are passing the camera so we can look at both views again. It looks a lot faster when you're standing right next to it, doesn't it? I know this isn't the highest quality video, but this is an experiment. I think it's kind of cool to watch switching from the brakeman's point of view. There on the right side, you can see the little tiny camera on top of the blue Great Northern empty wood chip gondola. Of course, we're watching that from another tiny camera on top of a different car on the track next to it. We're not getting very good audio from these two camera shots. I'm not really sure why that is. But I do really like a locomotive pulling a cut of cars through an S-curve like that. Super cool. It might be that the microphone in these tiny spy cams is in the base of the spy cam and not in the camera itself. And since the base is inside that wood chip hopper, it may be that one of the reasons that the sound is so weird is because the microphone is inside the car and isn't really hearing the engine sounds and so forth. By the way, the date stamp in the inset is totally incorrect. I just didn't have time to fix it. I'm going to go ahead and speed this next segment up 2 times normal. In case you're wondering why we're doing all this switching work, I had a couple of operating sessions over the last month, both of which are covered in previous videos, but the sessions were only 3 to 4 hours long, so a lot of the switching work at each of the local towns didn't get done. So Dave came over a few days after the second session and tried to finish up the switching work in the town of Everett, which is what we're seeing today. It's true that uncoupling cars in HO scale can sometimes involve flicking them around just a little bit. What are you going to do? It sounds like we had the jazz radio station on in the background too. Remind me to turn that off next time we're recording trains. Well, it looks like our switcher has picked up a flat car in addition to that reefer and is coming over to do something with it. I wonder if he's going to bang into the cut that we're sitting on in the inset view. This is the part of the switching operation where the conductor is trying to figure out what to do next. Not exactly riveting, unless, of course, you're the conductor, in which case you're really trying to focus and figure out what to do. On the other hand, you can't have a switching move without a plan. Well, what do you think? Are we going to couple up to that tank car and blow it up? Yes, it looks like it. Bang! Oh, and it's coming towards us now. Very interesting. Bang! And now we're rolling. And now we're stopped. I guess we're going to come back out again. Yep. And that's cool. You can hear the clickety-clack of the wheels now that we're moving. Not to mention the muted jazz band. I think one thing I'm learning from this experiment is it's important to have at least one good camera rolling that has a decent microphone, because both of these camera views are obviously subpar as far as the audio is concerned. I'm coming over to supervise, but it doesn't really look like I'm doing anything to help. Dave seems to have this under control. I do my editing in iMovie, which is a nice program, but it doesn't allow you to put two boxes in a box, just one. So while I was rolling two different cameras in two different pieces of rolling stock, as well as a tripod, I'm not able to show that in this video. I can only show you one brakeman's view at a time. But that's better than no brakeman's view. Well, on the inset there, we've been getting a nice view of all the different cars in the yard. Typical Northwest forest products, etc. Dave has really been shoving this cut of cars deep into the yard. I wonder what he'll do next. Well, it looks like he uncoupled us and shoved us back, so we're going to be stuck here for a while. I think the only thing he's doing is shoving a car down next to us. Here it comes. There, like that. All right, a few minutes later, let's handle some wood chip cars. I'm going to speed this up. It looks like he's going down to pick up the wood chip hoppers and use them to then pull an empty car out as well. Good movement through the S-curve, but we don't have to watch it at painfully slow speed. Bang! But this segment I like, so I'll leave this at 2 times real speed. These wood chip hoppers are all destined for the Scott Paper Company in Everett, right off of the Bayside yard. So in order to spot them, he'll have to do a runaround maneuver and then shove the cars towards us. That empty blue wood chip gone at the end of the cut has one of our spy cams in it, so you'll be seeing the view from that for this next sequence. The switcher has run around the cut, and he's about to back into us. Bang! In the inset view, you can see the funny-looking tripod holding my AKASO action cam, the one that's been taking the main view that you see on the screen. Well, now that he's got a hold of these cars, he needs to adjust the action cam to get a clear path to shove the wood chip cars into the Scott Paper Company. We've got a nice view from the blue wood chip car across the top of a tank car. This tank car will also have to be shoved into Scott paper. It's got some chemicals that are involved in paper making. But before we get there, we've got to get all these wood chip cars spotted, which is going to turn into a model railroad comedy, as you'll see in a minute. On the prototype, the Scott Paper Company is located on the west side of the Bayside yard. And this yard was originally built mainly to handle that traffic. But on my layout, the west side was taken up by the aisleway, so I made the dubious decision to put the Scott Paper Company on the east side on some tracks that I had originally intended to be used for diesel storage. And as you can see, they're very curved. So Dave is having a challenge here because he can't get the couplers aligned properly on these curved tracks. And also the clearance is hard to figure out until you shove the cars in there. So basically what he did was he shoved too many cars in, then tried to pull them out, and then ended up uncoupling the tank car that is right in front of us, just accidentally. Anyway, if you didn't follow that, go back and watch it again. It's kind of funny. It's another example of what I like to call reality model railroading. In this case, it's kind of a comedy model railroading, but it's real. Another thing that's going on here is that I have all three of these tracks in Scott paper labeled with different spins numbers, and Dave is trying to spot the cars onto the correct track based on the waybills and their spins number. So he's getting a little frustrated, as you can see from the speed there, because he didn't block the cars originally by spins number, and even if he had, they probably wouldn't have fit on the track. So he's having to do a little more sorting in place than I think he was originally planning on. Model railroading in general and switching is fun, but sometimes you just have to flick cars into the track where you want them because you feel like you're running out of time. Another thing that I'm finding out can get irritating is too much momentum on the switch engines. As you know, if you've been watching my channel, I'm somewhat into braking effects and momentum, but in this case, operators have been telling me that my switchers are too hard to use, and so I've been reducing the amount of momentum so that they can enjoy the switching a little more. Well, it's looking like we've got the wood chip cars sorted out now, and when this second group of three gets dropped in that track, we should be able to put the tank car where it belongs on the third track. There's a nice view of the spy cam propped up in that wood chip gun. And you can get a feeling for the momentum that I'm talking about as he tries to change direction. There we go. We've got all of our cars spotted at Scott Paper Company. Except for the empty wood chip car with a camera in it, and I told him to just put that on one of the two wood chip tracks sticking out over the turnout. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this experiment. We tried looking at the switching operation from the point of view of a crew member riding on the back of a car, and we learned a few things, in particular to improve the audio recording by having a different way of recording audio, and it's been a lot of fun. I think you'll probably see more of this on my channel as I randomly pop these cameras into different cars during switching. And I encourage you to put any comments you might have on how you experience this experiment in the comments section on this video below. And we'll keep on trying to improve as we go along. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to look at all the other switching videos on my channel. In fact, there's one from a long time ago called Switching in Everett, which I still enjoy, even though it has a variety of errors on it that I would correct if I was making it again today. So for now, this is Burr Stewart wishing you much fun with trains.